Hey guys, we continue to look at the protozoal diseases. You see anaplasmosis. We have as well red water caused by a blue tick. We have as well hot water caused by a bond tick. And we have coccidiosis. Those are our protozoal diseases. Under fungal diseases, we have a ringworm and we have lumpy wool, as you can see. These are some of the economic implications of animal diseases. You can see there, definitely there will be no exports, you'll be banned, and it caused impact on food security, the decrease in production, the loss of income, especially mastitis, and reduces the quality of milk, and death of animals. All those are some of the economic implications. As you can see there, the costs of medicine, that is to treat animals, even some cause abortions, which is loss of production, loss of quality, and all those. Ne? All right, this is how. For prevention, we mentioned vaccination very much, and also practicing hygiene. And then coming to parasites. Parasites could be animals or insects or plants that live on another organism that is caused by a host. What they do, they extract something from the host, and they can even secrete toxins. All right, we have two types of parasites. We have internal parasites, those that live inside the body. Ne? They can cause the anemia, which is caused by sucking of blood, wool break, weakness, and even death. Main groups of internal parasites: roundworms, we also call the roundworms nematodes, tapeworms or cystodes, flukeworms or trematodes. Ne? And then there are the different locations of the different parasites in the alimentary canal. You have your tapeworms, which are long and flat. As you can see, the life cycle of that tapeworm. You can see how it looks like. Those are different examples of tapeworms in cattle. So just go through those, and that's how you treat by dosing. Then you have roundworms, which we also call them nematodes, and those are some of the roundworms. As you can see, those are the hosts. The life cycle of roundworms, you can see the sheep, we put the eggs, and then we have the different larval stages up until it's eaten again. That's a life cycle of a roundworm. To treat a roundworm, you can use these drugs: albendazole or ivermectin. Ne? Then lastly, we have liver flukes, which is leaf shape about, and liver fluke. You can see there's an example when liver fluke there. Okay, life cycle of a liver fluke. You can see that a liver fluke needs an intermediate host, which is a snail. So a liver fluke, even there you can see that goats laying eggs, and then the eggs developing into larva. The final stage of a larva will live on a snail, and then it escapes from that snail to back to the goat. The reason it likes the snail, because snails sometimes they like the excrete of animals. So these are some of the symptoms. When your animals are affected by these flukes, there will be drop in milk production, loss of appetite, and even diarrhea. So you can use flukicides and some other chemicals to treat it. Financial implications, of course, poor production, high treatment costs. These implications are always the same: loss of production, loss of income, and can lead to death. You see, ne? And these are some of the indigenous knowledge ways of killing. The bushman poison, you use the roots, you powder the roots to treat tapeworm, and read through all those forms of ezakdala that are indigenous. Preventative and control measures, good nutrition, use clean feeders, provide clean waters, deworming, of course, and rotational grazing. It's very rest the infected pastures, because some of these worms, some of these parasites, they last for a few days. If you rest the field, they will all die without a host. And you can also do what we call zero grazing, where you cut all the grass, you don't allow your animals to go to a field. Biological control, you can use the dung beetles. What they do, uh, they are helpful in removing manure from the pasture. In large herds of cattle, it is impossible to remove all the dung, so the dung beetles can do that. Introduce natural enemies to control the internal parasites like the birds, ne? And also use of microfungi, even though it's still under experimentation. Chemical ways of dealing with the worms, you can use anthelmintics and also some other drugs in the form of drenches, tablets, and injections as well. These are some of the signs of these when animals are infected by these worms. These are some of the signs you see. So you need to get rid of these ectoparasites, external parasites. Uh, this is what they do. They bite and suck blood. They damage the skin. They lay eggs and spread diseases. And the most important of these are the ticks, terpenes, blowflies, lice, mites, and nasal worm. So ticks are small arachnids that ingest blood. They suck blood. Ne? They like the warm environment. So these are the effects of ticks. Just go through them. Um, and They are also carriers of diseases, especially the bacterial, the protozoal diseases, the red water and the hot water are caused by those ticks. So one host ticks is a blue tick, which causes red water and anaplasmosis. Then that's a life cycle. You can see it's only one tick, so it causes red water and anaplasmosis. And then there we have two host tick, which is a red leddek tick, which can cause sweating sickness or Congo fever. All right. And then there's a life cycle of a two host. You can see there's two hosts there, and even there. Also a bond-legged tick. Don't confuse a bond-legged tick with a bond tick. This one is still a two-host tick. Then even a red-legged tick is a two-host tick. Then a three-host tick is a bond tick. This one is a three-host tick. You can see one host, second host, third host. It has got three hosts. Uh, Eggs in another host, larva in another host, nymph in another. Then this one, a bond tick, it causes a red water. It causes red water. There is a bond tick. You see, it's bond. Not only the legs are bond, the whole body is bond. All right. These are some of the effects of tick: skin damage, painful wounds, bite wounds, anemia, which is loss of blood, loss of iron, and even can cause death. So there's a skin damage, though that's anemia because of blood sucking, and it can cause even mastitis, production loss. You can use to treat the ticks. You can use Parasites, ne? Through sprays, dips. You can even inject with Ivomec or vaccinate your animals. That one is a nasal worm. Don't be confused because you hear worm. It's not an internal, it's an external parasite. There it's coming from a fly. You can see the life cycle of a nasal worm there, and then a nasal worm in sheep. Those are the symptoms. Now coming to blowflies, lice and mites. Blowflies, they lay their eggs, and uh, they they lay their eggs on a damp, protected area soiled with urine. That is, if they like a place under the tail in sheep. So what they do, they will cause wounds and also bacterial infection. And the larva of a blowfly is called maggots, and that's why it's very important to dock, ne? That is to remove the tails of the lambs. So those are the larval stage of blowflies. These maggots are active and will start feeding immediately. They do not eat living flesh, but what they do, they secrete digestive juices that destroy the tissue and then eat the resulting mixture of dead cells, and it's very bad. A very a painful wound. That's a life cycle. You can see the maggots. You can see the maggots there of a blue fly. And then the treatment, the clipping and cleaning of coat around the tail, and also the sharing around the tail, which is called crutching, also tail docking. Um, Chemically, you can dip, or you can use the pour-ons, or even antibiotics. In lice, there are like sucking lice and biting lice. Some lice are wingless, as you can see. Lice there. There's a biting lice. There's a blood-sucking lice, and the life cycles. So transmission can be direct, that is with an infested sheep, or mechanical, that is through a contaminated clothes, vehicles, or other objects. So lice are species specific, that is, a lice for sheep will not survive on cattle, and a lice for cattle will not survive on sheep. So it's species specific. Symptoms: skin irritation and all those. Treatment of lice: dipping, of course. Use insect growth regulators. Use insecticides as dust or pour-ons, and also backliners. Mites, you can see the mites there, the damage. They are very small arthropods. They call the skin irritation called mange. Ne? They are closely related to ticks, but they are very small. You cannot see them with a naked eye like you can see them. They cause no stage can survive upper mites longer than 17 days away from natural host. Therefore, if a farmer can keep an infected camp or kraal for 17 days or more, the mites will die. So they cause irritation, itching, scratching, and biting, and then all this cause the inflammation and thickening, which will lead to. So you need to quarantine and dip your animals. That is a cause of mites, the mange, the thickening, and on all those. Um, all right.